Hello everyone, how's it going? In this video, we will talk about Palantir, trading under the ticker symbol PLTR. The financial market has been going through very volatile situations as of late, and one of the most talked about and sought after stocks has been Palantir. In today's video, we will go through what the company does and what it represents, the recent price actions, the company's financials, and my recommendation regarding whether it should be bought, sold, or held. If you appreciate my content, please consider to drop a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, please check out the link in the description section, as every help is greatly appreciated. So far in the year, the stock price of Palantir soared by a whopping 138%, which is very high compared to the 16% gain on the S&P 500. But I'll tell you what's even more surprising. It's the fact that things are still rising despite the headwinds ahead and the gravitational pull that will eventually pull down the stock prices that really soared post-2020. So it's safe to say that Palantir crushed it and left other tech stocks kinda in the dust during this period of recovery. But seriously, what has set Palantir on this impressive trajectory is the rise of AI and of course their own financial results. But this narrative of Palantir has the data, now they add in artificial intelligence, and then profits. So ChatGPT, the next-gen chatbot, has recently been a very popular topic. They have amassed over 100 million users in just 60 days. So it gets even better. Recently, Microsoft also jumped on the bandwagon and then paid $13 billion to OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, and then integrated the generative AI into Bing research. So this is really like wildfire. It really spread out across the tech sector, and Palantir is no different. People are projecting approximately 35% year-to-year revenue growth, pushed by the AI, like the AI phenomenon. And Palantir is also part of this major sea change. Really, I think that the fact that Palantir has entered into the narrative of we have the data, we're now adding in AI, and by the way, our profit margins are improving, our financial statements are looking good. All these things are really adding up very nicely for Palantir in order for the shareholders to see some kind of hope once again. Because right now they are scoring above like key psychological levels, which as long as they stay above these, things are going to be fine, at least for the short term. But of course, as for the long term, we still have to see some major price corrections, and these are expected given the current state of things. Now, let's also take a look at the technicals. The trading volume of Palantir has recently been around 63 million shares versus 70 million shares of an average. Over the past 52 weeks, the price fluctuated between $5.84 and $17.16. The volume of shares traded tells us how many shares are being bought and sold at any time in the market and if there's enough liquidity to support a trading strategy. If the float is very thin, it could be very easy to influence the stock price, but low liquidity could mean that the demand is limited too. When we compare the current volume against the average volume, there might be a possibility for trend reversal or a breakthrough if the difference were very large. For instance, if the stock were to break through, the current volume could be significantly higher than the average. The market cap of Palantir is currently at $32.5 billion versus an enterprise value of around $15 billion. So as we compare the current price to the historical price fluctuations, the stock is around 20% higher than the 1-month low, but 124% higher than the 3-month low and 180% higher than the 52-week low. On the options market, which often gives us a hint on the market sentiment about where the stock price could likely go next, the implied volatility is 80% versus the historical volatility of 56%. The put call volume is around 0.43, which means that a significant portion of people still believes that Palantir will go down despite the current narrative, probably because it just rose a little bit too much for their liking, and they think that a price pullback is normal given how the market functions. Regarding the shareholder structure, institutional shareholders own about a third of the float, so at 33%. Now, I believe that there's enough institutional participation to consider Palantir as something that we can invest in and not just trade in. With that being said, because it's just above 30%, I think that we should also expect Palantir's stock price to be volatile. So without that being said, the current short interest is around 8% of the total float, so I don't think that there is much of a debate or a discussion or a case to be made regarding whether there is a short operation going on against Palantir. I don't think that this is the case for the time being. If we look at the long-term price action of Palantir, we have to ask ourselves whether this company will have a place in the economy of tomorrow. Because we already know that Palantir will not be profitable for the next few years. This is already priced in. We know that Palantir is in a highly sophisticated area of the economy, and that it aims to become an analytic board for the wealthiest entities on the planet. The true debate is whether Palantir itself can stand the test of time and to actually play this role, and if the market believes that it'll play this role. So Palantir fell by almost 80% from the peak of the share price, from around $35 down to $7.28. Much of it is due to the overall market trend, and the rest is caused by doubts on a company's growth potentials, as well as its business model to work with government agencies. I believe that Palantir has been testing its bottom for some time now, and that the downward slope finally stopped its progression over the past 6 months. Ever since, the price has been hovering between $7 and $8, but is definitely hesitant in going below $7. Does it mean that the stock will reach new highs very soon? That new recoveries will start immediately? I don't think so. On the other hand, I do believe that Palantir will have a place in the future and that significant changes will occur at some point. Given that it's been down by so much, the only logical scenario is a price recovery once the storm is behind us. This, however, hasn't happened just yet. Palantir Technologies is a software company specializing in providing big data analytics and management solutions to various industries, including finance, healthcare, and defense. The company's flagship product, Gotham, is a powerful platform helping organizations to make sense of their data by providing advanced data integration, analysis, and visualization capabilities. One of the key features of Palantir Gotham is the ability to integrate data from a wide variety of sources. The platform may work with structured and unstructured data, including text, images, and videos. It can handle data from multiple formats and languages. This makes Palantir the ideal solution for organizations with data spread across multiple systems, languages, departments, and formats. Palantir's solution is widely used by government and intelligence agencies, as well as major financial institutions, consulting firms, and other organizations around the world. This is due to the platform ability to help make sense of the data that they have and to identify patterns and trends or causalities that might otherwise be difficult to spot. As we look at the company's financials, something that is very noticeable for me is the positive gross margin. Above all else, this is a very good reminder to us that Palantir's core business model seems to work. It is true that the revenue has been growing slowly over the past few quarters, but the fact that the gross profit that is is positive suggests that the main issue now is the scalability and diversification of the operations. We have to remember that Palantir's revenue has been able to grow despite the fact that there is a de facto recession in many parts of the world, suggesting that its clients are relatively robust and resilient. The cash flow reports also suggest that despite having a net loss, Palantir can self-finance significant portions of its operations with positive free cash flow of its own at the end of each quarter since Q1 of 2021. This would mean that the pressure for Palantir to go through rounds of share dilutions can be relatively low, which is a very good thing for shareholders. Another significant aspect to consider would be the liabilities Palantir has on the books. They are very well controlled. So currently they are a little bit more than $900 million. This is normal considering the size of its businesses and the growth that it had over the past few years. I would say that Palantir has a decent chance to become something that we should invest in because there is around 34% of institutional ownership amongst the shareholders. This means that Palantir does have significant endorsement from money managers, but they're largely outnumbered by the retail shareholders, that there will be a significant chunk of people going in and out of the stock market based on market movements and short-term price actions. This also means that even though it might be good for investment, and I would highly recommend you to see it as an investment stock, beware of people who still hope to profit off the swings, and don't blink when small volatilities occur. One significant difference between the institutional and retails is their investment horizon. Institutional shareholders can afford to wait for sometimes decades before things blossom, whereas retail traders tend to go in and out. Another behavioral difference is how active they are in the governance. Institutional shareholders are more likely to vote on important matters and decisions, whereas the retail shareholders tend to not bother and to simply wait for things to happen in their favor before they cash out. Considering the lower trading volume and the potential implications, I think that we should be careful about our decisions to buy more Palantir shares. I think that we gotta check Palantir's movements closely over the next couple of days and to see if the market trends will still be as bullish as they are currently. Of course, if you still have allocations available and believe in the long-term growth of such a company like Palantir, it might be worth your time to buy more shares now, but to also have some of your allocated amount for later in case there is a price reversal or corrections. I would recommend to commit between 3 to 5% of your portfolio in Palantir and to split them in batches of 20% at a time over the next 6 to 9 months.